in. Let's do some breathing. In.
So apparently, if you take a breath in and then take another breath in, like in quick succession, and then let it all out, that's when you actually exhale everything. And it's meant to make you have this feeling of like really like de-stress. No, Amy, you did it too many times.
So I was running out of breath.
Breathe it in and then breathe it in again in quick succession.
I can't breathe properly. Like, I really struggle when we do. Frank and I did this breathe with Ollie or something once, whatever his name was, on Instagram. And when he does the breathing and he's like, breathe in, I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, I can't breathe. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not very good at my breath work.
No, you really have to learn to
like control it. And I think the issue is sometimes you breathe in too fast. I think you have to breathe in very slowly.
Yeah, it's like if you're completely relaxed and you slow down your heart rate and everything.
Yeah.
You're not meant to breathe that many times in a minute.
No, you're not. I guess like when you sleep, do you breathe a lot less? Because everything's so relaxed. That was what happened to that woman, you know, that poor woman, Sarah, who got hit by the train, who fell on the train track.
Amy, no, please don't bring this up again.
I know, but it's fine. I've gotten over it now, but it really took over my life for a long time.
I think about it every time I look, especially when, you know, at Wilson Junction Station and you're walking through Wilson Junction Station and you're right there next to the track.
Oh, yeah, the other side, yeah.
That's what I think of every time.
No, I think about it whenever I get, because you know sometimes you get on a train and there's just like a massive gap and it's like, whew, this is a big old step. That's when I think about it. Basically, long story short, there was a really, really awful story of this woman who fell on the train tracks, and she luckily managed to get herself far enough over that she wasn't hit too badly, but she got run over by 2 separate trains. It was either 2 or 3 trains went past before she was found. It's literally horrific story that Mum told me, and I was upset terribly for days after it. I looked it up, I watched her interviews, I donated to her GoFundMe page. Like, I was literally traumatized after Mum told me the story. Like, I was crying on the way home.
Of course, she came home and burdened me with it.
Yeah, it was it's just such a horror story. But the way Mum told it to me as well was like literally something out of a Final Destination horror film. Like, it was awful. So then I felt like I really needed to just invest a lot of my time in her and her story. So I just like looked up so much about it. Anyway, in this interview, she was saying that she, like, before the accident, she had learnt to meditate, or had been doing like meditation lessons or whatever, and when she was on the tracks and like she wasn't being found and like the trains were going past and stuff, she put herself into a meditative state. I don't know. She essentially slowed her entire heart rate down, and she was basically told that it saved her life because it completely slowed the blood going around her body, and it slowed everything down so she wasn't bleeding out, and it saved her life. How mad.
It's incredible.
I know, crazy.
Yeah, I'd just panic.
I don't know though, because people say when stuff like that happens to you, like have you seen all the stories on TikTok about the Idaho 4 that got like brutally murdered in Idaho? They were like college students, and it's like a huge story.
Maybe.
And it's all over TikTok.
What, it's just happened?
No, it happened last year, a few months ago or something. There was like 6 of them in the house, and 4 of them ended up getting murdered. And sorry, this is really horrid, and we didn't put a trigger warning or anything.
And we haven't even done our intro yet.
I know, I'm so sorry. I don't know how we got into this, but very, very long story short, the murderer basically stalked one of the girls, got into the house and went to, I don't know if he like premeditated that he was going to kill her, but basically went to find her. She was like the one that he wanted, and it just so happened that like some of her housemates were in, and then like one of her housemates' boyfriend was in as well, was staying over. And so sad, he got murdered as well. It's literally so sad. It made my whole body go weird. The boyfriend and the girlfriend who were on the second floor of the house saw the murderer, or the boyfriend saw the murderer, but there's voice recordings, and apparently the other two people in the house didn't hear anything, like there was no screams. There's been so much research that has gone into it, and apparently when something like that happens to you, sometimes you can't do anything. Like you don't almost have time to panic because you're just in such shock. Like if someone came into the house, you would think your first instinct would be to scream, but sometimes you're like paralyzed by like fear that you can't.
That's why a lot of the time, maybe when you hear those sorts of stories, you go, oh, that was so silly. Why didn't they just do that?
Yeah, and it's like you can't, your brain doesn't comprehend it in that time.
Although you're meant to, you have a survival instinct, and like that kicks in. That fight or flight, that is inherently in you, like so survival instinct. That
is exactly what happened with Sarah when she fell onto the train tracks. Her instinct, her initial, because she says she had like, basically, I don't want to go into it, but the train was on the track, I think, when she slipped and fell down.
She was running for the train, she slipped in the rain and she fell through the gap.
Yeah, between the train and the platform. So she only had a very, very short amount of time to be like, shit, what do I do? She didn't have time to stand up and get back up. So she had to obviously, in that split second, her fight or flight mode had to be like, what do I do? So she obviously thought like, I need to get off the track. I need to get as far to the side as possible. And obviously she did, luckily, but you know, she really sadly lost both her arm and her leg. It actually makes me want to cry when I think about it. It actually makes me so sad.
Let's not talk about it.
But anyway, I'm really sorry about that little segment. I don't even know how we got into that, to be honest. It's officially been a year since we moved into the flat.
You mean the penthouse?
Yes, sorry, the penthouse.
We kind of thought it was about time to share our journey.
What it's really like living with your sister.
Navigating life in your 20s.
And all of our views in between.
Our views from the penthouse. Happy Tuesday, welcome back to the penthouse. It is Pancake Day.
Happy Pancake Day, Shrove Tuesday. I wonder what the story...
I know what Shrove Tuesday is. It's before the fast.
Oh,
is it the fast?
Yeah, something about fasting, and then you eat like loads of pancakes.
And then you give up like something, but it was really like a fasting thing, wasn't it?
Shrove Tuesday or Pancake Day is the day before Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent, observed in many Christian countries through participating in confession and absolution, the ritual burning of the previous year's Holy Week The ritual burning of the previous year's Holy Week palms, finalizing one's Lenten sacrifice, as well as eating that. I'm sure that makes no sense. Am I going mad? Make a special point of self-examination of considering what wrongs they need to repent and what amendments of life or areas of spiritual growth they especially need to ask God's help in dealing with. This movable feast is determined by Easter. The expression Shrove Tuesday comes from the word shrive, meaning absolve.
Okay, so anything we need to
replenish our sins of? Ask God for God's to...
But the modern day take on it is that people give something up for Lent.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, give us a break. We just did dry January.
Did we? I feel like we used to do Lent.
Yeah, it's because we were brought up deathly religious.
Mum lied about our religion to get us into a specific school. She like forced us.
All the best schools, like the schools in the area, were Catholic schools.
Did we never go to church before we went to that school?
Well, we were quite young. We started in reception, so we were quite young. 4.
Okay, so if you were 4 when you started going to the school and going to church and stuff, that's when you started your religious journey.
I guess so. And we did. We went to mass every Sunday.
We did our first Holy Communion.
That bloody thing you had to go to, like the study group, the Bible group, every Sunday when it was coming up to first Holy Communion.
Oh, it was the bane of my life.
Yeah.
And then Mum would make us go to church every Sunday, and it was like, can't be arsed.
And there was this one time, it was literally the best. It was the best time I'd ever been to church. One day we got up and we got ready, and Mum got us all ready, and we drove over to the church, and there was no one there. There were no cars there. And we thought, what's going on? Mum goes, I swear it was on at 11 o'clock.
We'd missed it. It was an hour earlier.
The clocks had gone. The clocks had gone back. The clocks had gone full. The clocks had gone
full back, full spring back, spring back, full forward. Full back, spring forward. Oh, yeah. What's the saying?
Yeah. Full back, spring forward.
So we'd missed it.
We'd missed it. is what we were trying to say.
She clearly didn't have an iPhone at that point in time because your iPhone changes for you.
Well, no, I don't think iPhones even existed.
They didn't exist for a long time.
I remember when everyone started getting the iPod Touch, which was the one that looks like an iPhone. That was like the new, because it was iPods.
You mean an iPod? Oh,
the iPod
sorry,
Touch.
yeah.
It just looked like that. It just has a screen. It had a screen like that, and it was all touch.
I don't remember that one.
And it did. I think it did have the button.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
it was
and
an
it was quite
but it was
big.
an iPod.
Yeah.
And that, I'm pretty sure that came before the phone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the iPods came before the phone. So remember I had the like nano, the really thin one. I got it for Christmas 2005, and it on the back it was engraved Amy Rebecca Owen, Christmas 2005.
Yeah. You had to swipe all the way around, get it like.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that. I loved my iPod.
Hi, how are you? I heard someone say that the other day, and it just reminded me of when I went through my phase where I was obsessed with Jeffree Star. I just went through a weird phase being obsessed with Jeffree Star and like Shane Dawson, and then I watched all of their shit on YouTube, and now I just don't care.
I never really got into that. I was never really into that YouTube scene. You know, like what's the other guy that's really popular? The one that you like, the sister guy.
James Charles.
The
thing is, I don't like. I went through a phase with watching him. I wouldn't watch any of the makeup videos. I only liked
like vlog style.
The other bits. You know what it was? It was Shane Dawson's conspiracy theory videos that got me hooked on him. And then I started watching his other stuff, and he became really good friends with Jeffree Star. And then I watched all Jeffree Star stuff, and it was just, their dynamic was just hilarious. Or they did like a YouTube series together, I think.
It's ringing a bell. But why didn't I watch the Shane Dawson conspiracy theories? Because I feel like I would have liked that.
So good. Go and watch them.
Have you seen this whole Madeleine McCann thing?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it, but Joe told me about it the other day. This girl has come forward saying she thinks she's Madeleine McCann.
Essentially, yeah, she has all these reasons for thinking that she could possibly be Madeleine McCann, and apparently the McCanns, Kate and Jeffrey, I want to say his name is.
I have no idea.
She's definitely called Kate. I read her book.
Did you?
Yeah. They have apparently said that they will do a DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to DNA test her. I just don't know. Like, I think a lot of the stuff she's saying like could be true, but
so she has the eye mark.
So she has the little brown eye mark, which Madeleine had.
I guess she would have to be the right age.
She is apparently a few years younger. No, basically Madeleine would be 19 now. And this girl is apparently 21. Her parents have told her she's 21, but she doesn't. We were in Lanzarote when we found out about Madeleine, right?
I have no idea.
I can see it. I can see the news coming up on the telly in the Playa Blanca house. Or I'm really sorry. I may have got that the wrong way around. But either she feels younger than her parents told her, or she feels older. She just feels like her parents have lied to her about a lot of things. And she said, you know, I don't remember a lot of my childhood, which doesn't really make sense because she was only 3. Madeleine disappeared when she was 3. And how much do you remember before you were 3? Not a lot.
Not a lot.
But then she might not have gone to this family at 3. She might have not gone to them until she was a little bit older.
Mm.
She says there's no pictures of her as a child. She says her parents are just shady whenever she brings up her childhood and stuff. Won't answer her. They change the story.
So she's come forward of her own accord.
Yeah, I don't really get it because imagine being the parents. You'd be like, this is horrid. Like our child, she's basically made an Instagram account and is posting all these videos and stuff being like, I think I'm Madeleine McCann.
What's her name?
I don't know. The Instagram's like, I am Madeleine McCann or something.
Oh, please.
I know. It doesn't sound particularly convincing. It does sound like she's kind of just trying to... But then again, I don't know. Lots of people believe it. And even the McCanns are starting to believe it because they're going to do a DNA test. She's nearly got 1 million followers on it already.
Help me. I need to talk with Kate and Jerry. I don't think that's what I would do if I was her.
I know. I don't know.
That is not what I would do.
Sorry, my phone just died.
She does look a bit like them. She doesn't look like Madeleine, the baby, I don't think, but I think she looks like the parents.
Do you?
Anyway, I don't believe it.
Really?
I just don't think there's any way that she is still alive.
I know.
To be honest. I've always said this as well. I think the parents had something to do with it. And I just don't know that anything can convince me otherwise. Purely on the fact that they washed her toy.
Yeah.
No one would do that. They found her blood in their car. I know it's their child. She might have had a nosebleed, whatever. There were too many things that pointed to the parents being guilty. I mean, I just think about like my rabbit. If I was to go missing, why would mum go and put my rabbit in the washing machine immediately? It makes no sense. None.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't agree because I guess I want to see the good in people. Like, I agree to the fact that, like, if you watch the documentary and if you read the facts and you read her book and blah blah, like, there are things that happen that are a bit like questionable. But equally, like, imagine your child goes missing and everyone blames you and you just didn't do it, and you're like, my child has been taken from me and everyone is blaming you. You would look a bit funny, you would be strange on camera, you would be traumatized, you'd be shocked, you'd be...
Yeah, but why would you care so much to write a book? And they're making money off their child going missing.
Because they want to get the word out, because they don't want people to forget about her, because they still want to find her. Like this girl is doing, spread the word, like, get it out as much as possible. Like, you want everyone on the lookout for her, and they've done a great job because she's probably the most famous missing child ever. I mean, people know about her all around the world.
But people, they know the parents as well.
Yeah, but I don't think they've...
I don't know. I know what you mean. And it would be awful if someone was blaming you. Okay, take the parents out of the equation. If she was really taken by someone, there isn't anything in my mind that thinks she would still be alive.
No, I agree. I think she was killed the first night she was taken, and if not the first night, the second or third. I think as soon as it started getting out in the press, even if she was still alive, they would have killed her, which is very sad. But yeah, I think she is probably dead as well, and I hope she isn't, and I really hope that in my lifetime we find out what happened to her.
Very selfish of you.
That does sound quite selfish.
To make sure that she's okay.
No, it's just one of those things that's like, I would love just for someone to know what happened, just to clear it up for the parents, for the family, and for everyone, because it has been something, it's just something that has been so widely, like, talked about, that it would be nice for everyone to know what happened.
But as well, I'd kind of hope that maybe, not wish that she was killed, but like, if she wasn't, she may have just suffered her whole life. She may have been trafficked or whatever, or abused.
Oh God, I know I could talk about this subject all day, but I'm not sure it would be a great episode. I'm sure you've heard everyone talk about it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of stuff. I think Bella Fiore did a whole Mystery Mondays on it, and
she did. I didn't really enjoy that one because I just knew it. I prefer her ones when I don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I will still not get over this one. Did you watch the one with the twins? Were they Swedish or something? Twins?
Swedish twins.
And it was in England.
I don't know.
It was in like Liverpool on one of the motorways.
I don't know.
You would remember it. I still think about it all the time. These twins, they're basically invincible, and there are videos of them being hit and flattened by a lorry going down the motorway. They've just run into traffic, get hit by cars, get back up and run into traffic again.
What?
Yeah.
They weren't killed?
No. It is the weirdest thing you've ever seen. Anyway, go watch it.
But aren't her videos about murders?
It's Mystery Monday. So it's an unsolved case of these. I mean, one of them goes on to murder someone.
Oh my God, that sounds terrifying.
No, but it's just so freaky. Like, there are videos of it because they happen to be filming that, you know, that like traffic cops show.
Oh yeah, like they've got like dash cam cameras, you mean?
No, it's a show, UK police show about.
Oh yeah, and they do like follow criminals that like try and escape the police. And
I think so, but they happened to be filming when this happened. They were there on the side of the road and they were filming the show, and the girls are in the background like talking to the police. And then you just see one of them run out into the road and get flattened by a lorry. No, I know I'm laughing, but it's just mad.
I don't understand. Surely they must have like been hit by the lorry and then just been under it and not have actually got run over.
Just please go and watch it. I actually went back and I rewatched the whole video, and then I told Joe about it and made him watch it. And it's just funny that it's on like one of the English motorways.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched her videos in a long time, so there is probably quite a few that I'm not up to date with.
I'm so jealous. Like, I watch them the minute they come out.
Really? No, I haven't watched them
them
in probably years. I went through such a phase where I was like obsessed. I would watch them back to back all day, every day.
She is just my favourite. They're just so good.
She is very good. She is very good at telling stories. I just like her accent as well. It makes it better. If I was to sit there and tell it, I don't think it would be... What? Oh my God. I thought there was a spider or something on me.
No. She's moving to London.
Bella.
She's moving to London like now. Yeah.
Oh my God, let's be
Her and
best
Kerry are
friends.
moving to London.
Let's be best friends. Do you want to come on the podcast?
Oh my God, yeah, come on the podcast.
Oh my God, how fun.
I know. We got a real treat for you guys this week. And by treat, I mean recipe.
Recipe of the week. Ding, 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 ding. It's Chinese week, so what do we do? We should have chopsticks in our hair.
I know.
Remember we were going to do
Yeah.
themed weeks?
Yeah.
We could play like some sort of dragon, like Chinese dragon music.
It is the year of the water rabbit.
That's a bit fun.
Mm.
Water rabbit. I didn't even know you could get a water rabbit.
I may have just completely made that up. I think it's just the year of the rabbit.
Right.
I don't know.
Where did water come from? At the moment, everything is just like relating to me about everything. So like, I know I've said it 1,000 times and I promise I will not mention it again after this episode, but there is just something that I need to tell you. I've just been in such a Playboy hole, and obviously that's like Playboy bunny and that's rabbit, and like now you've just said it's the Chinese year of the rabbit, and it's like everything at the moment that is happening is just like these reoccurring themes of like things I would like never, you know, it's like once you know something, you hear it. So obviously I've been obsessed with Girls of the Playboy Mansion, the whole Playboy thing. Hugh and the Hills is what we've been talking about constantly for like the last, because we've been in our 2000, back in our 2000 era. I was watching a lot of the Call Her Daddy podcast episodes because she interviews a lot of the Hills reality cast. So she does like Heidi, Spencer, Audrina, Kristen, I think that's it. And so I watched Spencer's the other day, and you're never going to believe it. You're never going to believe it. I literally watched it the day after we recorded last week, okay? And I'm listening, and he's talking. I can't remember exactly. I'm going to have to find it. But he literally says, and it was kind of giving Eyes Wide Shut. And I was like, hold up, rewind. And then he starts going, you know, it wasn't quite... I'm sorry, this is so annoying, but I can't remember because it was literally last week, and I heard it and I was like, oh my God, and I had it in my head and now I've totally forgotten it. But he says Eyes Wide Shut. It's like that eye, it's not like that Eyes Wide Shut or something.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying it.
Yeah, he talks about the film and I was like, wait, what? I was like, I literally have just watched that for the first time.
Because in the film, there's a kind of, it's not a cult, but it's like that weird type of thing.
I literally, it might not have been anything about cults. It might have been more about like sexual stuff, or it might have been, and he just says like something about the film Eyes Wide Shut.
It's weird because you wouldn't have known, because
it would have just gone chomp. I wouldn't have even been able to have put that to anything, but because I just watched the film and then we'd just spoken about it. And do you know what I mean? It's like everything is just...
aligning.
Everything's aligning. Chinese Year of the Rabbit, recipe of the week. So our recipe of the week this week is in fact Chinese, insert chopstick in hair.
Like Chinese fake away inspired.
Fake away Chinese inspired meal. We had our dad and his partner over.
Is it weird if I sit here with my arms crossed?
Don't know.
Do I look a bit standoffish?
A little bit.
Okay.
Maybe just... So we had our dad and his partner over for dinner on Friday, and we were back and forth. What should we make? We want something that's like relatively easy. It's quite nerve wracking. I think it's the first time I've ever really cooked for him. Like we always go out for dinner.
I've made him breakfast before.
When was this?
At Betty's one time, you weren't there. But because our dad is quite a, not fussy eater, but has
quite particular,
and
he's one of those people, like if he orders something in a restaurant and he doesn't like it, like you'll know.
Yeah.
He's like not Whereas like I think I'm a little bit more like I'll just put up with stuff a bit more.
He just likes what he likes.
Him and mum are very similar in that sense. It's like I got my nails done today. Did you notice?
Yeah, I did. I was thinking that. Lilac.
Yeah. So I got my nails done, and to be honest, they're not very good.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's just such a shame because I found this new salon and I'd been a couple of times. I'd been invited by PR to go a couple of times and I really, really liked it. So I booked in myself to go today, get my new fresh nails. I'm a month early, but I went for lilac because we spoke about it last week. It's £50, which is, you know, quite expensive. It's only gels. It's not even acrylic or anything. So I had to have...
What do you mean by gels? It's just shellac on your nail?
Yeah. So I had to have the shellac I had on before taken off.
£50?
Yeah. So it's like the shellac I had on before, buffed away, taken off. Then obviously your nails, like a bit of a cuticle sort of treatment. And then the new gel. £50 is the price. It's £40. Plus I had to take my gel off, which they charge an extra £10 for. Fine, I booked it, whatever. I'm walking and I'm it's like a minute from my appointment and I'm about 3 steps away from the salon and I get a phone call and I wouldn't usually answer it, but I answered it and it was the salon and they were like, oh, really, really sorry, but your nail technician's had to go home. Like she's ill or something, or she's had to go. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. Bearing in mind it was 1 minute from my appointment. Like it was literally my appointment time. I should have actually probably been there a couple of minutes earlier, but I got delayed. And she was like, so we can put you in another salon, but like obviously you got to go there. So they rebooked me into the Covent Garden salon, and I was meant to be going to the Fitzrovia one because that's where my meeting was. So I'd like planned it all. I'd like booked my meeting there. Then I had my nails. Then I had another meeting after. So I'd like done it all purposely. Bit annoying because like now my day is going to be delayed, so I've got to obviously get to Covent Garden. So I was like, okay, fine, like not to worry. I was like, whatever. She was like, we'll give you 20% off your booking. So I was like, okay, great. Like I don't really mind having to travel the extra 20 minutes if it gets me 20% off, fine.
20 minutes to Covent Garden from Fitzrovia?
Well, I walked it, which took me probably 15.
All around there is much quicker.
So I just walked and it was actually quite a nice walk and it was fine. So that was kind of like the first thing. So like I've had to go to Covent Garden quite out of my way. Didn't really need to be there. It wasn't the end of the world because like I say, it was only a 15-minute walk, but like still kind of annoying. So then obviously I'm delayed. My whole day's delayed. And then she's just doing my nails and she's just like very, very sweet, but she's just like so slow. I was in there for over an hour and a half and I just have gels and it's just like a long time. And I don't mean to complain because I'm not a complainer and that's kind of the point of my story. Like she could have been new, she could have been having a bad day, she could have been nervous, she could have been, you know, just passed her beauty exam or whatever. I don't know. But when you're paying like £50 for something and you come out and they're just not that good, it is a bit like, it was just like one thing kind of on top of the other.
The time thing in nail salons really bugs me as well. If you make an appointment, they should have a time. It should be a timed appointment because you don't have all the time in the world. Like you said, you had a meeting after. You can't just wait until they're done. It needs to be done in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, I suppose it's like you can't help how long it takes. To be fair to them, like they take their time and like they're very precise and like I've really loved, like I've come out like beaming the last few times I've been and I've thought, you know, they're really, really good, but I'm just not that happy with these this time and it's just such a shame because I was really excited to have them done and I got my lilac. Anyway, the point of my story is I met mum after and she was like, you need to tell them. She's like, you need to complain. You need to tell them that it's not good enough. She's like, make sure you tell them. But I just am not really one, like, I just don't like complaining. Like, I just can't be asked kind of with the hassle. And like, I will just be like, yeah, I love them.
Thing is, for something like that, it could have been a one-off.
Yeah.
But they might like some constructive criticism because then they're going to do it to everyone else and everyone's going to come out being like, well, they're actually a bit shit. Then they're going to get a bad rap.
I got an email after being like, give us your feedback. So I might just pop it in there because it might be like anonymous and I might just say, you know, like, I normally love the salon, but I'm not like 100% happy with them this time. I just feel like, you know.
But it was a different salon and it was a different person. So it's like, you can't really.
No, I've been to the Covent Garden one before.
Oh, really?
I went to the Covent Garden one the first ever time I got my nails done with them and I really, really loved them.
Nails are just so hit and miss.
They are. They really are. They're not like that bad, but they're not great.
That's why a good salon will ask you to keep checking, like, are you happy with them? But you never want to say.
No, and you know what I did? She did keep saying like, oh, how do they look? And like the shapes were all kind of a little bit off, and they were all kind of different lengths. And I said like, oh, could you just make that one like a tiny bit more like almond or a bit more pointy to match that one? And like, she was like, yeah, but it's more the paint job. It was like she took such time throughout the whole nail process that she almost rushed the paint job, because she was like, shit, I need to be done. And like, it's just like kind of all over my nails, all up the sides, like kind of just like not straight. Anyway, the point of my story is our dad is one to be like, this wasn't very good.
It's not good enough.
Or it's not good enough or whatever. So I was quite nervous when our dad was coming over and we had to cook for him. So we were like going back and forth, what should we cook?
So this is Amy's kind of speciality. The thing is, you don't cook a lot. And when you do, like you have certain dishes that you do very well, because I forget, because you used to cook quite a bit and experiment. I remember you being good at cooking, and now when I think about you and cooking, I just don't really think about you and cooking at all, and then I forget that you're actually all right at cooking.
I think I cook quite a lot here.
I think you lost it when you were with your ex, because you didn't really, because he was a chef.
No, I would say I cooked a lot when we were together. I cook here quite a lot. I would say I borderline cook more than you.
Okay, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that.
No.
No. I would say no, but I guess I'd say we're pretty 50-50.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But you're acting like you cook way more than I do.
No. But
that's what I'm saying. I borderline would say
no.
On average, I would say I maybe cook once or twice more on all the nights we're here in together.
Breathing
exercises.
No, I just don't feel like you put much love into like when you do sausage and mash. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like sausage and mash. You're not like making something that's like, do you know what I mean?
What would you like me to be doing with my sausage and
like
mash?
Making a sauce from scratch, like make it, you're not you are more of a buy a jar.
Absolutely not.
Okay, let's move on. The point is, I don't think of you and cooking together anymore. I don't see it's like oil and water. Okay, I don't know. My point is, you have a couple specialty dishes that you do really well, and this is one of them, because this is something that I don't cook. Okay?
Well done for digging yourself out of that hole.
The one she made the other day was so good, and I don't know if it's because we'd had like a gin, a prosecco, a wine, or
I was smashed, so anything would have tasted good.
But you definitely put extra
love.
You definitely put extra love into it.
Yeah. So we haven't even said what the dish is.
No.
So it is my take on like a crispy chili beef and egg fried rice. And then we have like prawn crackers and stuff with it. So it's kind of like, yeah.
Because we always get a crispy shredded chili beef.
I think it's either shredded crispy chili beef or crispy shredded beef. I think it's chili. I think it's crispy chili beef.
I think it's probably different everywhere.
Sometimes it's Szechuan.
Sometimes it is Szechuan. I would say it's maybe more healthy because it's not fried.
Yeah, well, I think you like to think that a fakeaway is slightly healthier than a normal takeaway because you know exactly what's going in it. You're putting everything in yourself.
There's always a point in this podcast where my toe pops out. Can you just cover it up, please?
You can't see it, though, in any of the video.
I know, but I can feel my toe is in the air. Oh, this stupid blanket. Look at it.
All Hannah does is insult my things.
Me and Joe had a whole bitching session about your blanket the other day. Because I was confirming what I said the other day about how annoying it is.
Well, take it off the sofa. I'm happy to take it into my room. I don't need you here insulting my blanket and then using it every night on the sofa. Do you know what I mean? Disgraceful.
Tell me what's in the beef.
So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to either want to buy strips of beef or you are going to want to buy some steaks and chop them up yourself. I would say probably buying steaks is nicer. You're probably going to get some better beef, but it's probably more expensive and it's a bit more hassle because you've got to chop everything up yourself. You're going to want cornstarch and you're going to want Chinese 5-spice and you're going to want to coat your beef.
You're going to want
to coat your beef in the cornstarch and the the cornstarch and the 5-spice mix. It's quite the tongue twister. And you want to do that kind of, I think the earlier you can do that, the better.
Okay.
Now you're staring into my soul.
It's quite on the spot, this whole recipe thing.
Yeah. It really is. What do you mean? What?
You feel like the spotlight's on you.
Yeah. You sort of want to do that as early as possible because you basically want to dry your beef out so it fries nicely, so there's not lots of like juices, so it goes nice and crispy. Hannah suggested, because normally when you batter something, you dip it in like the egg and the flour and stuff like that.
Well, your beef isn't battered.
No, it's not battered, it's just fried, crispy.
It's not crispy though, and it's not coated. So you probably don't need the cornstarch.
It just makes it a little bit crispier because otherwise it would just be like steak. You know, like when you eat steak, it would be like that steak texture rather than being a little bit.
But I thought it was, wasn't it?
Hannah also suggested maybe air fryer, but I just don't know how that would work. But we could give it a go.
Literally the whole point. It's a fryer. That's why it's so good if you do chips in there, because it's like you're deep frying them.
Okay, well,
I definitely think you could do it in the air fryer.
Okay, well, we don't own an air fryer, so what we'll do is we'll buy one and we'll try it out and we'll let you know. So anyway,
take that out. Take that out.
Okay. I think put it in cornstarch, but if you can't be bothered or you don't have time, don't worry. But you want to sort of dry it out so it fries nicely and doesn't get the juices. You don't want it to be like when you do a steak and it's like bleeding. This is what I'm saying. You want to dry it out.
But yeah.
Whatever. What is it then?
Your steak's not bleeding.
Isn't it?
No, it's just water.
I thought it was blood.
Dead slabs of meat like that, they don't have any blood in them.
No. I was only joking. Anyway, can I get on with my story? It's actually a really easy recipe, very simple, very quick, very fast, and it's just taking a long time.
Actually, don't quote me on that because I don't want to be wrong, but
I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm right. Please be right, please be right, please be right.
Not Slytherin, eh?
Okay.
What does it say?
Even the rarest and reddest of steak is actually bloodless. Instead, what you're looking at is a combination of water, which makes up about 75% of meat, and a protein found in muscle tissue called myoglobin. Mic drop. So then you're going to want to make your rice.
There's so many gonna want to should have worked in this recipe. What I really want.
Tell me what you want. You're gonna want to put your steak in.
Move on from the cornstarch and the 5-spice. We get it. What else goes in it?
Okay. You're going to want to do your rice like prior. I would say your rice is like your first step because actually you kind of want your rice to be like cold. You want to fry your rice. So you want to do, you're going to want to fry your rice.
My stomach hurts. I also need a wee a little bit.
Sometimes when you laugh, you look like you've had loads of Botox because your face doesn't really move.
Really?
It's quite good.
I think I've trained, although I am very expressive in my face, I have trained myself to not do this or do this.
You don't have hardly any wrinkles.
Skincare, baby. Like I only ever like put it on in upwards like strokes. I'm OCD about my face. Basically.
Well, I can tell it's doing you wonders. Do your rice, cook your rice, put it to the side, cool it off, put it in the fridge, do whatever, because then you're going to fry it later and like mix it in with like egg, and we put peas in ours. You can put spring onions, basically egg fried rice. I mean, it's pretty simple, but you kind of want to do that prior so that your rice fries nicely. Also, fry your rice for like a long time. I think that's what I did different this week is I just fried the rice off for like a really long time.
Because you did the rice before and let it dry out, it fried nicely. It didn't get all like, it didn't clump together.
Yeah. So fry your beef off and then put that to the side. And then you can kind of add whatever you like, but you want onions, garlic and chili.
Fresh chili would be best.
Fresh chili is best. There was no chili in the supermarket. Hannah doesn't eat onions or garlic, so we didn't put any of that in. But I would if I were making it properly. I would add a red and a green pepper to like bulk it out as well. Spring onions as well. Chuck some more of them in if you want, because they're always good. Ginger's a very key ingredient, I think, in this. And you're basically just going to fry all of that off in your frying pan. Add your beef back in. Make sure it's all obviously lovely and cooked. And then your sauce is made up of ketchup, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, and sweet chili sauce. And that is essentially it. That's everything that you need. Bring it to the boil and then let it reduce a bit so it goes that little bit like thick, sort of gloopy, sticky, crispy, chili. And that's kind of it. Like I've made that sound extremely complicated, but actually if you break it down, it's quite a simple dish to make. Like you just chop everything up, put that all in one pan, fry your rice, and that's kind of it. And then you can just have some stuff to serve. You can put some spring onions on top to serve, or some fresh chili on top to serve. We normally serve with prawn crackers, which we just obviously shot by, and they're delicious. I think this was my best one.
I think it was too. Not rushing it.
Not rushing. Taking it slow, not rushing. Also, the pressure of having your dad, who's quite fussy, sat there, that helped.
Diamonds are made under pressure.
Absolutely.
You look confused. That's how you make diamonds.
I have no... how do I know how... I'm not a diamond
Have you
maker.
never heard that expression?
I've never heard that expression.
Wow.
Anna, you should be a teacher. Has anyone ever told you you should be a teacher?
Well, you know.
Recipe of the week. Insert chopstick in here. What I was thinking is it's going to be really annoying for people if they want to come back to listen to specific episodes for the recipe of the week, and then they have to listen to us ramble and go off on 20 different tangents before we actually get to the recipe.
We should put a timestamp of the recipe in the description and what the recipe is, so you can literally just go back to the episode, see what episode it was in and the time that it's at.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay, we'll do that.
Mental note.
Aleptha. Play.
We're going to sound crazy.
That makes me cry with laughter.
It was so good, that guy.
I know, he disappeared. He stopped doing videos now. It's really sad.
Just, I love how he'd run and like roly-poly into the room and then up to the laptop and go, Aleptha.
I think we might end this episode here because we're eager to tell you our news.
So we do have a little bit of an announcement. We're actually going to go into it next week. It's actually quite important, like for the podcast.
I feel a bit sad announcing it.
I feel really sad.
We are sadly but happily moving
from the penthouse.
We are moving from the penthouse,
where the podcast was born,
where the podcast got its name, where we got our name, the girls from the penthouse. We are moving, and it's a good thing. It's a happy thing. It's an exciting thing. Change is always good, and we will go into everything next week and why we're moving and all the details. And that is actually going to be our season finale.
Oh yeah.
That is going to end season 1 of From the Penthouse.
So hold on tight. You're in for a wild ride.
We have a whole move ahead of us. We have a brand new space. We have, new ideas, new inspiration, and we're going to take you guys along on the entire journey from beginning to end.
So stick with us on our Instagram and TikTok for all behind the scenes, sneak peeks at From the Penthouse.
Obviously, make sure to come over to our YouTube if you want to watch our full episodes. When we come back in season 2,
things will look a little bit different.
We will have a new setup. So that's super exciting. We're very, very excited about that because we'll go into it. But this was only ever a temporary kind of thing.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening.
We would love if you could give us a review and give us 5 stars, either Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen. It would really help us out, and it would end off our season rating one really, really nicely if you could just give us 5 stars. So yeah, next week will be a very exciting episode, but for now we will see you next Tuesday.